All right, so get this. We got a VOD post from a poker pro named Ed Reef, and the title alone had us hooked. Hate the win, not the winner got tilt.
Whoa, that's a pretty loaded title. Right off the bat, it seems like Ed's diving deep into the mental game of poker.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about the cards. It's about the psychology, the emotions, the whole shebang.
And the fact that he's questioning the win itself makes you wonder what went down?
Right, like what kind of win makes you question the whole thing?
Yeah.
Well, lucky for us, Ed breaks it all down in this blog post. It's like a raw personal look into his experience during a recent no-limit hold'em game.
So we're getting into the nitty-gritty here. A real behind-the-scenes look.
Exactly. He even throws around this phrase, making the right mistake, which honestly, I was like, what does that even mean?
That's a head-scratcher for sure. It's like winning when you should have lost. How does that work?
Well, let's dive into Ed's story and find out.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So he starts by describing this hand where he's heads up against another player deep in the action.
High stakes.
Yeah, and he calls a raise with suited connectors, which basically means he's hoping to hit a straight or a flush, but he's also suspecting his opponent has ace-king.
So already there's a lot of reading and guessing going on.
Oh yeah, tons of mind games. And then the flop comes king-high, and Ed hits two-pair.
Ooh, two pair. That can be tricky, especially on a board that could also help his opponent.
Right. It's a strong hand, but maybe not the strongest.
So what happens next? Does he play it safe?
Nope. The other guy shoves all in hang Ed. Ed insta-calls, no hesitation.
Wow, that's gutsy. So did he have the ace-king?
He did. Ed was basically dead in the water until the river card, that is.
Ah, river card. Moment of truth.
And wouldn't you know it, a 5 hits the board, giving Ed a full house and the win.
Wait, what? So he won with basically a bluff?
Pretty much.
There you
Even Ed himself calls it sucking out, which means it was pure luck, not strategy. That's where that whole making the right mistake thing comes in.
So that's what he means. It's like he made the wrong decision based on the odds, but got lucky and won anyway.
Exactly. And that's where the danger lies. Because winning like that can give you a false sense of confidence. Like you can just throw strategy out the window and rely on luck.
Yeah, I can see how that could be a slippery slope, especially in a game like poker where discipline is key.
And Ed is super honest about that. He admits that these kinds of wins are the ones that tempt him to overstay at the table and end up going broke.
It's that gambler's fallacy, right? Thinking that your luck will hold out forever.
Yep. He even quotes the saying, luck lends but never gives, which is pretty profound when you think about it.
It's a good reminder that we're not always in control, even when we think we are.
And this is where things get even more interesting for me. Ed talks about playing in the dark, which basically means making bets based on what he thinks his opponent doesn't have, rather than strong evidence.
Oh, so like playing based on assumptions rather than actual information.
Exactly. He was so caught up in this mindset that he ended up bluffing way too much.
And I'm guessing that didn't end well.
You guessed it. It backfired big time.
Well, that just goes to show you how important it is to be adaptable in poker. Every game, every hand even, is different.
Yeah, you gotta read the room, so to speak.
Exactly. What works in one situation might be disastrous in another. You can't just stick to a rigid strategy.
It's like trying to use a roadmap from the 1950s to navigate a modern city. You might get lucky, but chances are you're gonna get lost.
Perfect analogy. And in poker, getting lost can cost you a lot more than just time.
So true. So we've got this idea of the right mistake, the importance of adaptability, and this whole concept of playing in the dark. Where do we go from here?
Well, it sounds like Ed's night at the poker table was just getting started. And from what he's hinted at, it's about to get even more intense.
Yeah, it's like you're walking a tightrope, blindfolded.
And with sharks swimming underneath.
Exactly. One wrong step and you're toast.
So Ed goes on to describe the different types of players he encountered that night. He says the game started out pretty passive.
Oh, interesting. Passive games can be tricky.
Yeah, how so? Well, on the surface, they seem less risky, but they actually require a different kind of strategy. It's all about patience observation, waiting for the right moment to strike.
So it's like a slow burn.
Exactly. And Ed says that actually worked in his favor early on.
He was riding that passive wave.
He was. But then he says the game shifted dramatically. As the night went on, the passive players got knocked out and a new breed of players took over. Tight aggressive, he calls them.
Oh, those are the worst?
They're tough to play against, that's for sure.
They're like sharks circling their prey, just
Yeah.
waiting for the right moment to pounce.
Exactly. And Ed admits he wasn't ready for that change in pace.
He got caught off guard.
He did. And it cost him, he ended up rebuying 3 times.
Ouch. Sounds like he was getting sucked into the frenzy of the game.
Yeah, it's easy to lose yourself in that high-stakes environment, especially when the adrenaline's pumping.
And maybe letting his ego get the better of him, too.
Possibly, pride can be a dangerous thing in poker. It can cloud your judgment and lead to reckless decisions.
And speaking of reckless decisions, Ed gets really candid about his tilt experience.
Oh boy, here we go.
He talks about getting his aces cracked twice, along with kings and queens, basically losing with the statistically best hands over and over again.
That's brutal. It's like the poker gods were conspiring against him.
I know, right?
Hmm.
And it's enough to make anyone question the very nature of the universe. Like, why am I even playing this game?
Yeah, that's tilt for you. It hijacks your rational mind and throws you into this spiral of doubt and frustration.
You start seeing patterns where there are none, making impulsive decisions, chasing losses, just trying to regain some sense of control.
It's like a runaway train. You know, it's headed for disaster, but you can't seem to stop it.
And Ed captures that perfectly when he compares his brain to a powerful broken computer when he's on tilt.
That's such a brilliant analogy. It's like all that processing power is there, but it's misfiring, sending out the wrong signals.
So how do we avoid becoming a powerful broken computer? What's the antidote to tilt?
Well, Ed has some thoughts on that too. He talks about the importance of discipline.
Discipline. That elusive beast.
It is. But it's crucial in poker. And in life, really. It's about recognizing the limits of your control. Understanding that even in a game of skill, sometimes the cards just don't fall your way.
It's about accepting the inherent uncertainty of it all.
Exactly. Not getting so attached to outcomes that we lose sight of the bigger picture.
So it's not just about winning or losing individual hands, but about developing a long-term mindset.
Yes. One that prioritizes learning and growth over immediate gratification.
It's like shifting from a sprint to a marathon.
Exactly. And that's where the true mastery lies.
Man, Ed's story has really got me thinking about my own approach to risk and decision-making.
It's amazing how a simple poker game can reveal so much about human nature.
Right. It's not just about the cards. It's about psychology, strategy, emotional control, all these things that apply to life in general.
Absolutely. It's like a microcosm of the human experience.
So let's try to distill all this down. What are some key takeaways our listeners can walk away with from this deep dive?
Well, first and foremost, I think Ed's concept of the right mistake is a powerful one. It reminds us that even when we succeed, it's important to examine how we got there.
Yeah, a win isn't always a win if it's based on luck rather than skill.
Exactly. And those lucky wins can be dangerous because they can lead to overconfidence and recklessness down the line.
It's like thinking you can fly just because you jumped off a roof and landed in a pile of hay.
Ouch. Yeah, that's a good way to break something.
And then there's the whole idea of adaptability, which Ed's story really drives home.
Right. You got to be able to adjust your strategy based on the situation. You can't just stick to the same plan no matter what.
It's like trying to wear the same clothes all year round. You can be sweating in the summer and freezing in the winter.
And probably looking pretty silly too.
And of course, we can't forget about tilt, that emotional roller coaster that can derail even the most skilled players.
Yeah, tilt is a beast. It's that voice in your head that tells you to keep betting even when you know you should fold.
It's like having a gremlin on your shoulder whispering bad advice in your ear.
And the best way to deal with those gremlins is through discipline, emotional awareness, and a willingness to walk away when things aren't going your way.
It's about knowing your limits and not letting your emotions cloud your judgment.
And ultimately, it's about shifting your focus from winning or losing individual hands to playing the long game.
It's about the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly. And that's a lesson that applies to so much more than just poker.
Well said. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener for me. I hope our listeners are walking away feeling inspired to up their game, whatever that game may be.
And maybe even a little more zen about the whole thing.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time for another adventure in the world of ideas and insights.